Hi, and welcome to Inside Humphreys County. I'm Daryl Mosley. I'm the Executive Director of the Humphreys County Chamber of Commerce. And with us this week is Miss Kim Emery, who is with the White Oak Women's Exchange, also with the Humphreys County Arts Council. And we're here today to talk about the Quilt Trail. Kim, thank you for being here. I have, like most people, I have seen the blocks up on businesses and places for a while, and even as I've traveled, I've seen them in places outside of Tennessee, and I did not know what they were until I came here. This is all these are connected, as I understand, right?
The blocks in the county are connected.
Right. Yeah.
And the plan is to connect our county with the adjoining counties' quilt trails.
All right. Well, for the folks out there like me, tell me in a nutshell, what exactly is the quilt trail?
Well, a quilt trail starts with a quilt block, which is a wooden or metal square that is painted to represent a quilt pattern, either just a block or an entire quilt. And they are mounted on barns or homes, businesses, or historic buildings throughout an area, in this case throughout Humphreys County. And they are linked by a driving trail so that you can get in your car with a map and drive throughout the county and see all the quilt blocks that are hung throughout the county.
Now, are they all the same size?
The majority of the blocks are 4 by 4 foot square. We do have an 8 by 8 foot square out at the state park, and there are a couple of 2 by 2 foot squares. We like them to be at least 4 by 4 feet so they can be seen from the road. But some people just don't have that much space on their building. So in that case, we even have some 3 by 3s. You know, we can make exceptions, but as long as it's visible from the road, where people can see them and enjoy them, the size is not that crucial.
Gotcha. Now, how did all this get started?
It got started nationally back in 2001. A woman named Donna Sue Groves in Ohio wanted to honor her mother's Appalachian heritage by painting a quilt block on her barn. And from there, the movement has just spread. There are quilt trails all over, mostly the East Coast, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina are probably the areas that have the most quilt trails. And in Tennessee, we have several, the Smoky Mountain Quilt Trail, the Appalachian Quilt Trail, Upper Cumberland Quilt Trail, Southern Middle Tennessee Quilt Trail. In our area, there's one in Stewart County called A Stitch in Time, and it is a Civil War quilt trail. Houston County has one called the Celtic Quilt Trail, and now Humphreys County has one called the Three Rivers Quilt Trail.
Wow. Now, when did it start here?
Here it started, it really started 5 years ago in 2009 when Patricia Davis in McEwen at Enoch's Mill started painting quilt blocks. She had seen it, I think, in her travels and thought it was a great idea. They live on a historic century farm, the Enoch's Mill, in McEwen, and she started painting blocks and putting them up around the farm. They also have a bed and breakfast, and she wanted to decorate the bed and breakfast with the blocks, and they probably have at least 10 blocks now out there at Enoch's Mill. And the quilt trail throughout the county started in 2013 when the Five Rivers RC&D contacted the Humphreys County Arts Council asking if they would be interested in starting a quilt trail throughout the whole county. And so we started working with Five Rivers RC&D. They provided us with some grant money to get it started. And in 2014, the first block went up on our official trail at the state park in New Johnsonville.
Wow. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
It's been growing. We did have a plan. The Arts Council worked. It took several months to get a plan and funding set up to how we were going to get it started, get people to understand what was going on, get the blocks up. And the initial plan was to start in the cities and get blocks up on businesses in the cities where people come into town every day. You know, they come through during the week. They'll see them and start asking questions of the businesses and find out what it was about. And then we hoped it would spread out into the rest of the county, and boy, has it spread.
Have you been surprised?
I've just been wowed. I cannot believe the support in this county for the trail. It's just overwhelming. We have over 50 blocks, and it's really, the first block went up in like February of this year. So, I mean, in less than 8 months.
Wow.
We've got almost 60 blocks.
Now, is it a continuing process where people will continue to do this and keep adding blocks and that sort of thing?
It is. The trail will just continue. As long as people support the trail and put up blocks and keep their blocks maintained, the trail goes on. And right now we have had a cutoff date of September 15th. That is really just so that we can get a brochure started. We need to have a brochure out there so people know where the blocks are. But even if you don't have your block done for the first printing of the brochure, we will continue to print this brochure periodically and be adding blocks all the time. And you have offered very generously to add blocks and information on the Chamber of Commerce website, which will help a lot, so that if a block comes up and is ready and hung, but we don't have it in the current brochure, they can come to the Chamber website and see what new blocks there are and find them on the Chamber map and be able to see them.
Right, yeah. We certainly want to help all that we can. Now, are there people that, and I assume this is the case, they'll actually go to an area, find the brochure, and scale the whole map and see all the blocks, take pictures, that sort of thing?
There are brochures out for all of the quilt trails that I know of have brochures. And some of them are able to afford enough brochures to put them out at the welcome centers along the highways in Tennessee. And they do get a lot of traffic that way, or they're mailed out to interested groups so that they know what's going on. But what people do, and one of the first instances I heard of quilt trails locally, some friends of mine in Dixon County got some friends together and their husbands, and they jumped in the car and they drove from Dixon County through Humphreys County to Benton County to go on their quilt trail. They spent the whole day in Benton County driving around. They had lunch at the restaurants in Benton County. They shopped, they stayed for dinner, they spent the whole day spending money, having a great time, back through Humphreys County to Dixon County, because we didn't have a quilt trail up and going.
Right.
But a quilt trail is really an opportunity for an area to promote itself, to increase tourism, to bring business in and money into the county. It's not just an art project, although primarily the Arts Council, of course, sees it that way as a great way to involve the community in an art project for everyone's benefit. Everybody gets to see it. There's no charge to drive the trail. There's no charge to be in the trail, to put a block up on your building. The only cost is whatever it costs you to make the block.
Wow. Well, to me, that's one of the things I like most about it when I started learning about it, is the fact that one of the beauties of our area, in our county, in our area here, is the fact that it is it's all the good things that small towns are about. And you hear people talking about the slower pace and stop and smell the roses and that sort of thing. And this kind of gives them an opportunity to do just that, and to take a day, take their time, stop, and spend the day. And you're right, it gives an opportunity for, maybe they didn't think about it as tourism, but that's exactly what it is. And it brings people here that wouldn't be here otherwise.
Yeah.
Now, what about the people? Now, granted, if there may be somebody who would like to have a block, and of course they fund this themselves, I guess, to have the block. But maybe now, if somebody who is artistic, they can create this on their own, or do they have? Is there somebody they have to go to get this done, or how does this work?
You can make your own block if you feel that that's something you'd like to try. We really encourage everybody to try making a block on their own. It is an art project, and it's art that everyone can participate in and try. You don't have to be a fine artist to do it. You just have to have the desire. There is a website for the Southern Middle Tennessee Quilt Trail, and they do have on their website a link to a video on how to make a block. So if you're interested and you just don't know what the mechanics are, if you can Google the Southern Middle Tennessee Quilt Trail, there is an instructional video on making a block. We do have Patricia Davis, who was our first block maker in the county. She does make blocks for other people, and you can contact her. There is another business in Woodlawn, Tennessee. They've made several of the blocks. They made the block at the State Park in New Johnsonville. Craig Bardorf has made blocks. He's a resident in McEwen and an artist. Also, the art departments in the high school have been making blocks. The teachers there have been working with the ag departments. The ag department will make the block, and the teachers have been painting them for some of the businesses in the city halls and that sort of thing.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yep. And there are people all over. If you see a block that you like, stop at the business, stop at the house, ask them, did you paint that block, or who painted that block? Can I get one like that? And that's another wonderful part of this. It's communication. You stop and you talk to people. You learn about why they put that block up, or what it means to them or their farm. Maybe it's a historical meaning. It may be from a quilt their grandmother made, or one that they had as a child. And it's just a great project for everybody to get involved with. So you're welcome to make your own or purchase one, and as long as you put it up and fill out an application so that the Arts Council knows that you've put a block up and we can get you on the trail, that's all you need to do.
So in order to join, you have to fill out an application. Where do you get these?
The applications are available at the city halls in the county, here at the Chamber, online at the Chamber, and online at the Arts Council's Facebook page, which is, I think it's just Humphreys County Arts Council Facebook. No, it's it's the Three Rivers Quilt Trail Facebook page has it on there.
Okay.
So it's just facebook.com/Three Rivers Quilt Trail, and you can get one there.
Okay, all right. What drew you to this?
Well, I'm a quilter.
Ah, well, there you go. And the story.
I'm always looking for quilts, but it was just the idea that, I love quilts because they're beautiful and I love to make them, but it's nice to be able to see people like quilts and see quilts in a different form and a different viewpoint. And even a friend of mine had grandchildren that were visiting her, and she has a block on her farm, and they didn't even recognize it at first until she pointed out to them, and they were so excited when they realized what it was. They left her place and went up to Michigan with their parents and drove up to Michigan, and they spent the whole trip looking for quilt trail blocks and found them and just had a wonderful trip. And these are teenage kids, and for them it was really enjoyable and an eye-opening experience.
Well, that's great.
So
well, it's funny. I was thinking as you were talking about that I remember having family members who would save pieces of cloth and different fabrics and that sort of thing, and sew all that together to make this this work of art, this quilt, and these blocks that are hanging on the buildings and the businesses and the homes. That's basically what that is too. It's kind of a community quilt. Really, all these individual businesses and homes, and they're unique on their own, but weave together, to make this community, and it gives people an opportunity to kind of see that a lot slower than they would otherwise.
Right.
What a great idea. It's one of those things that you see it, and like I said, I've traveled a lot, and I've been out of the state a lot, and seen them elsewhere, and seen how this idea has caught on, and it's one of those things where I would have never thought about it until I saw it. Thought, that's wonderful. That's a neat idea.
It is, and our county, we don't. Some of the counties have themes, like the Celtic Trail in Houston County, or these beautiful Celtic blocks, and Stewart County has the Civil War blocks. In our county, you can make whatever block appeals to you, whatever has meaning to you or appeals to you. That's your block. You make it. You decide what it's going to be. That's Humphreys County.
Well, that's the way I like it. When do you anticipate having the brochure ready?
We want to have the first printing ready November 7th when we open the trail officially during the Autumn Blaze Arts Festival.
So there will be a grand opening of the quilt trail.
There'll be a grand opening and a ribbon cutting ceremony at the City Hall in Waverly at noon on Friday the 7th. We are expecting several cars from the Tennessee Tees Model T Club to be there, to be the first cars to officially drive the quilt trail. And we'll have, hopefully all the owners of blocks will be there. We'd love to have everybody that has a block on their building come that day at noontime and participate. And of course, Five Rivers RC&D, who has been one of our sponsors and big supporters, and Chamber, and all the other businesses and entities that have helped us get this going. Because it has been a big group effort, and it's just really grown, and I've been so pleased with the support from the members of the community and the businesses and organizations. Everybody's very excited about it.
Yeah. Well, it is exciting. So I'll look for several of you at the grand opening. We'll be out there, and the ribbon cutting and the official opening. That's exciting. We've come a long way in a very short period of time, really.
Really very short period of time. Some trails take years to get to the point that we are now. So I'm just so tickled.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. This is fascinating. I know that you guys like me have seen the quilts, and this has certainly been an education for me. And like I said, it makes me want to get the brochure and start driving around and taking a look.
Get out there and see it. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Kim Emery, who is with the White Oak Women's Exchange and of course also the Humphreys County Arts Council, here talking about the Quilt Trail. And we thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week on Inside Humphreys County.